Hello, mouse fans. I'm the PC Expert Amateur, and we're going to take a look at the ProtoArc E11 ergonomic wireless vertical mouse. And this is it. I saw that. I thought, wow, that looks really interesting. And I broke down and I bought it. And it does support both 2.4G wireless, as well as it has two Bluetooth options. So you can choose which one you want to activate right there. Additionally, it has the DPI button down here, but there's also a DPI button right there. And it's got an on-off button, and as you can see, the dongle is right here. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 skates on the bottom. And it's got this not useful thing here, but it makes it look different, so I guess that's okay. You can also charge it right there. It does come with a charging cable, USB-A to USB-C. It's got the typical 3-button setup here with the scroll wheel. The scroll wheel has nice ridges in it so that it's easy to move. And then it has the forward and backward browsing buttons as well. I was pretty psyched when I got this, but it didn't last really particularly long. And it wasn't because of the performance. It was because the battery is crap. If you look at the specifications for this, and I didn't notice it when I ordered it, but the the specifications say that it is only, and I'm going to emphasize the word only, 930 milliamp hours. That is not very long. And after using it for a while, I got so tired of having to switch back to my other mouse so I could recharge this. And then, it was just really annoying. Now, it does fit my hand pretty well. I would say this is good for somebody whose hand isn't quite big enough to palm a basketball like mine. Not so great for people with smaller hands, but you could make do. And aside from that, the DPI that they've got on this one is 1,000, 1,600, and 2,400. So it does give you some really wide options for that. So that is nice, I guess you could say. There are also 4 RGB lighting modes. And, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. The orange button here is not for DPI, it's for the lights. So I'm sure you want to see the lights. So let me turn off my lights so you can see these lights. And we'll get this turned on. And all the lighting is right there. And that's the second option for lighting. There we go. And then the third option, and there's that. And the last. So, yeah, it's nice. I mean, at least you can look at it. Well, I mean, if you're not going to pay attention to your screen, you can look at it. One of the things I didn't like about this was the way they designed it causes my hand to just subconsciously to keep on creeping away from it and hold it like this instead of like this. And partially that's because the positioning of the thumb well is not optimal for my hand. If I put it where it's optimal for my hand, then my fingers don't feel like they're in the right spot because I'm going over the edge. So really this is more of a medium, I guess, on the smaller side than my hand, because I never got used to that. And that, I can live with that. But the fact that the battery just doesn't last very long was a deal breaker for me. I'm always looking for better mice. And right now I've got a pretty nice one. It's just that I don't like the color. But I can live with the wrong color. I can't live with a poor battery or a design that doesn't meet the needs of my hand. So I think some people will really like this mouse. It's just not for me because It's the wrong hand size. So there's really not much else that I can tell you about this design and this mouse. Oh, by the way, the 4 lighting modes, they call them neon, streamer, breathing, and monochromatic. In the listing, it claims that it's ergonomic and that allows you to reduce strain on your wrist. That only works if you actually stop using your wrist incorrectly. So if, and I forgot to turn my lights back on, so if you are going to be moving like this as you're using the mouse, your wrist, maybe in months, maybe in years, is going to start hurting, especially over here. It's going to start hurting. How do I know? I've been using mice since before almost everybody watching this was born. All right. And I've learned the hard way that if you don't correctly use a mouse, you're going to pay the price. So make sure, I was using a different mouse before, make sure that you always, wow, that's weird. There's a serious lag. Yeah. Oh, wow, that's so weird. Make sure that you always, did I say always? Avoid doing this with your wrist because you're going to end up screwing your wrist up. It does heal. If you stop doing it, it does heal. I can guarantee that. I mean, but if you do it long enough, it's going to turn into osteoarthritis, and that is where the bones are grinding against each other because you've worn away the cartilage in between. And it theoretically, the cartilage can grow back, but if you're constantly re-injuring it, that's not going to happen. I know that too because I've got osteoarthritis in this thumb here, and it's been a horrible time since I no longer work at Amazon trying to get it to grow back. So just do the right thing for your wrist and your thumb. Now, for those of you who don't understand why you need this button that allows you to choose between wireless 2.4G as well as 2 different Bluetooths, it's because when you have multiple options, that allows you to connect to multiple devices. So just by pressing the button, you can switch from, say, your PlayStation to your computer, and from your computer to another device, like maybe the on-screen display for your TV. And that just gives you the ability to have fewer devices lying around. So just to reiterate now, it doesn't last a long time on the battery that it's got because the battery is too weak in terms of how many hours it'll last. And that is partially because of the milliamp hours, but it's also partially because this does not have the ability to go to sleep or hibernate when not being used. You'd have to turn it off every time you weren't using it in order to save the battery. So get something that's actually got power conservation built into it. The only other criticism I have is that it doesn't have a low DPI setting. 1000 is okay for regular use, but if you're playing like a sniper game and you want this cursor to move very slowly, or you're doing work where you have to move the cursor slowly, not having a low DPI option really makes that more challenging, especially if there's no software option to change that in the program that you're using. So I would not call this a sniping mouse and I would not call this, I mean, honestly, I just can't really recommend this mouse because of the battery problem. I'm not going to grade it based on the fact that it doesn't fit my hand well. That's, that is just the way it is. But you do need to make sure. And since they don't provide the information you need to make a good decision about whether it's going to fit your hand correctly or not, yeah, it does. I would also suggest that if you have a wide hand, you may not be happy with this mouse. Then again, there are a lot of mouses out there that don't really work well for people with wide hands. If you have a long hand, also same problem, unless you don't mind your fingers being scrunched up like that. So that's it. What do you think about this mouse? I mean, aside from the very interesting appearance of it, do you feel like this is something that you would like to have because you have multiple devices, or maybe you just have other reasons for it? I would like to hear what you think. Thanks for watching and have a great day.